President Donald Trump threatened to use heavy force against protesters at the military parade being held in Washington, D.C. on Saturday, June 14th, 2025. Trump told reporters, "We're going to celebrate big on Saturday. If any protesters want to come out, they will be met with very big force." The parade is meant to honor the 250th anniversary of the Army, which happens to fall on Trump's birthday, turning 79. The Army has stated that the parade has nothing to do with Trump's birthday, and they have been planning for this anniversary for over 1 year. Trump again repeated, people that want to protest will be met with big force, and went on to say, but this is people, meaning the protesters, that hate our country. They will be met with heavy force. Protesters are not people that hate our country. When the people in America protest, this is a signal, a sign to the government that the people in America are angry and upset about a policy or an issue, something that is affecting their lives in a negative way. Government, from the president on down, is then charged with the responsibility to listen and then to address the people's concerns and their grievances. The government's response should not ever be to attack, arrest, and incarcerate the American people for criticizing and objecting to government policy. America is a republic, which means that American citizens are in charge, and mayors, governors, congressmen, senators, and the president are supposed to listen and then work towards resolving the American citizens' concerns. And when a president calls on the military to go out and arrest protesters with heavy force, then we have a president who is not only out of his mind, but also out of control, in my view. In May of 2025, Army spokesman Steve Warren said that the service welcomes peaceful protests, referring to people who choose to protest on Saturday, June 14th, 2025, in Washington, D.C., noting that the U.S. Army's motto is, "This will defend." "This will defend" is the motto adopted by the War Office of the Continental Army in 1778 during the American Revolution, and to this day continues to reflect the mission of the U.S. Army, which is to protect the nation, its citizens, and its values. The motto is stamped on the Army flag and the Army emblem. On Tuesday, June 10th, 2025, Army spokesman Steve Warren went on to say that the U.S. Army will remain committed to upholding democratic values, saying, "We're not doing crowd control." The upcoming military parade in Washington, D.C., which is scheduled for Saturday, June 14th, 2025, is meant to mark the U.S. Army's 250th anniversary. Fortunately or unfortunately, but coincidentally, Trump's birthday happens to fall on the same day. So does Flag Day. What is unusual, it has been rumored that Trump is expected to receive a folded American flag, which traditionally is presented to families of the fallen at military funerals. In any event, the language that President Trump has chosen to use appears to be meant to intimidate, harass, and to instill fear into American citizens. And this is not proper behavior for an American president. Trump is proving to be a provocateur in all that he does, whether it is in business, politics, trade negotiations, and now dealing with American citizens, in particular with those American citizens who did not vote for him and or do not agree with his political positions. Then we have the cost of this parade, which is expected to be between $25 million and $45 million. Trump has claimed that the majority of the expense is coming from private sources, including himself and unnamed donors. However, according to Army officials and multiple reports, the money is coming from the U.S. Department of Defense and also from a group of veterans organizations and also funded by private sources. But guess what? These private sources are not revealed. We do not know who they are. I would think that if private sources were actually funding this major, historic, iconic event, they would be tripping over themselves, trying to put their names out there all over social media, major cable news channels, and local news networks, and attaching themselves to Trump, just like they would if they were sponsoring the Super Bowl or the NBA Finals. But in the end, we may all discover, as it seems to happen all of the time with Trump, the truth never seems to come out of his mouth. As Army officials and city sources have confirmed that taxpayers are footing the majority of the cost. Happy Flag Day, everybody.